Good evening, and thanks for joining us for this conversation about Tenacity, a Massachusetts-based youth development organization. I'm Karen Holmes Ward, Director of Public Affairs for WCVB and also a proud member of the Tenacity Board. And I'm joined by my colleague Bob Halloran, sports anchor and reporter here at Channel 5. And clearly, Bob, this pandemic has had a profound effect on all of us. And unfortunately, it's still something we all need to deal with as we attempt to reopen our schools.
That is so true, Karen. This healthcare crisis has taken a tremendous toll, as has the economic crisis that's followed. And amidst it all, there's a national reckoning over systemic racism and social injustice. All these issues have brought us to a break point of sorts, particularly for those engaged in public education.
Fortunately, public schools and their partner organizations have stepped in and stepped up to support the pressing needs of local kids and their families across the state. And in this program, we're going to talk about Tenacity, one of the state's preeminent youth development organizations, and their initiative to support their long-standing mission to help students succeed in school and in life.
Now, many of you may know Tenacity from the brightly colored banners you've seen on Boston and Worcester playgrounds over the past 21 years. Tenacity started in the summer of 1999, providing free reading and tennis programs on 10 playgrounds in Boston, serving about 1,100 kids. And that fall, they began the Tenacity year-round program, working with partner middle schools to provide intensive support in reading, literacy, and English language arts, in addition to providing fun with physical fitness while teaching kids the game of tennis. And over the past 21 years, the Tenacity summer program has grown to 30-plus sites in Boston and Worcester neighborhoods, serving well over 5,000 kids each summer, as well as a school year program in Boston that has about 800 kids on a path that starts in 4th grade and continues into middle school.
But what many people may not realize is that Tenacity stays involved with their students throughout high school and into the college years and beyond in what they call the Tenacity Pathway to Post-Secondary Success. In fact, 95% of Tenacity's Pathway students graduate from high school, and 70% are succeeding in college or an approved alternative program.
The Tenacity program isn't just a middle school program, it goes a lot more than that. Once you graduate as an alumni, once you're in high school, it's a whole different thing.
What kept me with Tenacity was the fact that I had people who really cared about me.
They'll always be there for you, because that's what they do, that's what they're best at.
We're hanging with good, positive people who have dreams, and I wouldn't have found those people if I stopped doing Tenacity after my 8th grade year.
Here to help you understand that financial aid.
When it came to the college process, Tenacity helped me a lot. And I remember if somebody wasn't there telling me like what I should be doing, then I probably wouldn't have done it, and I probably would not have ended up in the college that I am today. So,
Post-secondary success is kind of the framework that we work within, and we've spent a lot of time and energy kind of thinking about what that means and how to be strategic in assisting students in achieving that vision.
Post-secondary success to me, when I'm explaining to my students, is for them to be able to successfully enter a career that they see themselves doing for 10 plus years, something that they're going to enjoy. So, like, we try to open up their eyes and ears to other options, and I feel like that's what makes Tenacity stand out a little more, because we're not just college or nothing else. I have a student that just finished the Iron Workers program, and he loved it, and it took him 3 years, and he's already in a job, and especially dealing with COVID, for him to not be worried about having a job right away is awesome. And the key aspect is not having debt, so.
New Balance Foundation and Tenacity have a partnership fostering a more equitable and inclusive community through mentorship, academic coaching, access to sport, and improved health. And U.S. tennis star Coco Gauff is proud to support their shared commitment to improving fitness, nutrition, and academic outcomes for underserved youth.
Thank you, Tenacity, for your dedication to providing tennis to young children. I believe that sport brings everyone together and creates change. Also, thank you to the New Balance Foundation to help Tenacity's initiative.
Over the past 19 years, the New Balance Foundation has proudly provided more than $2 million in funding and will continue to support Tenacity and its many other grantees who are so committed to helping underserved kids succeed in school and in life.
Tenacity has always maintained that access to a quality education is the first step towards helping kids create opportunities for success in life, and the pathway to post-secondary success is key.
But unfortunately, this year has been a bit unusual, and I don't think any of us had any idea of the full impact the pandemic was going to have on all of us.
Well, I was sitting in my in-laws' living room in December and early January, watching what was going on in Wuhan and thinking to myself, this could never happen in America. And I would say by the end of January, early February, we were beginning to worry about this.
We were following the news stories internationally and looking at what was happening throughout the world, but not thinking that in the next week, our district will be shut down and our students will be learning from home. And so pretty quickly, I think it was a weekend, we flipped to remote learning.
We were going to work with what we had, and we were going to try to make it as best as possible an opportunity to deal with kids where they're at. If we have to close by Friday, what can we do? Beginning Monday, literally beginning Monday.
Well, geez, on March 17th, you know, it was really a difficult decision. The mayor and I were there on that Friday before, considering closing schools and just going, is this for real? And I'm thinking this is going to be the hardest decision I'm ever going to have to make in my life, is closing schools and then pivoting and getting ready to feed, you know, 53,000 children as well. Just an incredible, huge lift, and I can't say how proud I am of our team and really the overall city's response to a coordinated effort to do that for our children this past spring.
When Boston Public Schools announced school closures in March, Tenacity responded in a number of tangible ways, including the use of a wide array of new technologies to help students and their families stay involved and connected with their studies, with each other, and with their teachers.
We just had to react and respond quickly. So we took our whole curriculum, all the curriculums, ELA, tennis fitness, family engagement, life skills, and went online.
To go with the book club theme, today is going to be how to play tennis when you don't have a
I've been so impressed with the staff's utilization of 15 plus different social media apps.
How do you inspire?
And we just leaned right into the challenge that was facing all of us.
Working together, the Tenacity staff and their students were able to stay in touch and make it through the school year safely.
Now, normally, Tenacity is very involved in graduate celebrations for students and families, but this year, those events just weren't possible. So when the school year wrapped up, Tenacity provided an online forum to acknowledge this all-important milestone virtually and invited students to share photos and their perspectives to help celebrate their achievements.
While all that was happening, we were also having to think about the upcoming summer. And would the state and city want us to be out on the city's tennis courts providing free reading and tennis this summer? So it's been a very fluid and dynamic time, not to mention working through the fundraising aspects and the challenges associated with that.
As Massachusetts was able to flatten the curve and cautiously resume more normal daily activities, Tenacity was given the green light to open their summer program at a portion of its sites in Boston and Worcester, as they have in previous years.
This is Tenacity in Jamaica we're playing Rip City.
And for a few hours each day, kids were able to engage in tennis and general fitness fun while participating in the Tenacity Summer Reading Program.
The program successfully wrapped up in August, and the Tenacity team immediately began working with their Boston Public School partners to begin planning for the new school year.
Hi, I'm Paul Collins, Tenacity's board chair. On behalf of Tenacity's entire board of directors, I thank you for your interest in learning more about the impact of our programs on local youth and the communities we serve. I'd also like to extend a very special thank you to Mayor Marty Walsh and his school and parks department teams, as well as the many Tenacity collaborators throughout the city agencies in both Boston and Worcester, who work so hard to provide the wide range of services that are so essential to raising and supporting well-rounded children. I'd also like to extend a very special thank you to Tenacity's lead supporter, the New Balance Foundation, along with all of our 2020 fiscal year top donors and partners who make Tenacity's impact possible. Our goal is to ensure that Tenacity remains poised and ready to meet its students' greatest needs, to make sure they know that their hopes and dreams matter, that their lives matter, and that Tenacity will be with them every step of the way on their journey to achieving post-secondary success. We ask you to consider supporting Tenacity's pathway to post-secondary success. Please visit us online at tenacity.org and click on the Donate button. And on behalf of all of us at Tenacity, we thank you for your support at this critical time.
For Tenacity, fundraising efforts were yet another casualty of the pandemic. Remember, there is no charge for students to participate in any Tenacity programming, and through the years, Tenacity has put together all kinds of events, large and small, to raise funds and awareness for all of the programs they provide. But again, those sorts of large, in-person get-togethers just weren't possible.
So with the help of some of Tenacity's Pathway College students and alumni, they launched a virtual fundraising initiative online and called it Breakpoint. And it featured short profiles of young adults who were willing to share stories and perspectives about the importance that the Tenacity Pathway has had in their lives.
I think before we even get to the kids, we have to make sure that we support the programs. The programs need the support of the nonprofits. They're nonprofits. And if they don't survive, particularly in this time, we're going to be worse for it. And I think that the more we can support the programs, the more they can support the kids, and the more that they can give the kids a voice.
My name is Miranda Harkes, and this is my Breakpoint. I was 11 years old when I started Tenacity. Let's just say my mom forced me to go to the MSA program. And at first I wasn't a big fan of it, but after spending like the first 3 weeks in the program, I just started loving the tennis. I loved the community Tenacity was building, and I decided to stick with it.
I remember specifically when my brother and I were in the middle school program. Both of us are artists, and Tenacity really gave us a space to kind of explore our artistic skills as well. And I think that was one of the best parts about Tenacity. And that eventually led me into going to Lesley University College of Art and Design and pursuing my graphic design skills. So, I mean, it really just paved the road for my future.
Without Tenacity, I wouldn't be who I am now. I went to middle school at the Jackson Man. I remember the first day of the program when we started playing tennis. I was hitting the ball around with my friends, and the first tennis coach, she pulled me to the side afterwards, and she thought I had like a natural talent when it came to tennis. And now I play varsity tennis at UMass Boston. Last year, we won the conference championship, went undefeated, and played in the D3 national tournament.
Yes, these are my home courts. I started tennis through Tenacity, and I never imagined how far I would be able to go through with tennis and all the opportunities Tenacity has, built for me, really. Because if I didn't have tennis, I don't think I would be accepted to as many colleges as I did my senior year, or being able to be playing on a college team. It's unbelievable how many opportunities I was able to get through Tenacity. If I didn't have Tenacity when I was in high school, I don't think I would be the person that I am today. I really don't think so.
I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, my first job with Tenacity, it was my first job ever. Working with kids, I found that I ended up having a passion in working with children and teaching them how to play tennis. And the mentorship is like one of the best parts about Tenacity. And when I was a tennis coordinator, that was something that I wanted to instill in the kids and wanted to be for the kids as well. I wanted to be that mentor that they were for me, because they believed in my path, they believed in my brother's path, And I'd say because of tenacity, I was able to do some great things and pursue everything I wanted to pursue. This is Giovanni Radcliffe, and this is my breakpoint.
To support Tenacity's Breakpoint initiative and to learn how you can be part of our movement for positive change in public education, scan the flow code on your screen. Just open the camera on your phone and aim it at the flow code. When you see the banner appear, be sure to tap it. This will allow you to donate to Tenacity and help overcome this breakpoint.
Karen, I understand you had a chance to head over to Tenacity to sit down with their founder and CEO, Ned Eames.
I did, Bob, and I'm happy to report that Ned and his staff are doing remarkably well. Obviously, this pandemic has created a lot of challenges, and the path ahead remains a bit uncertain as we're getting into the hybrid models of school reopenings. But it was a great chance to engage in an interesting conversation about how all of the events of recent months have brought us to this breakpoint in public education and how we can best proceed from here. So, Ned, the issues of today certainly present some challenges, I would imagine. We have COVID-19, economic insecurity, and some folks just struggling with rent and facing eviction. There are protests over racial injustice. That's a lot for our young people to grapple with.
Well, all of that is what is behind and underneath our Breakpoint initiative. So we've really got to be thinking about the direction of our community, what kind of society do we want to be, and I think that our students want to be part of these conversations. But think about it, Karen, amidst all of this, the schools are being asked to serve 53,000 lunches a day. This is beyond the basic academics that the kids need. The schools are being asked to do so much. And I think people are gaining a whole new appreciation for what it means to educate urban kids and support all our youth.
People are realizing now how important schools are, that they don't just deliver an education, they deliver actually little wonderful citizens back into our community. I think that public education often takes on quite a bit of the responsibility for children and their well-being and the well-being of their family. And I believe that this is a shared responsibility within the community. And that's why I'm so glad we have so many partners here in Boston.
I mean, we cannot do this work in education by ourselves. We can't do this work in silos. And so when I think about a partner like Tenacity and the level of collaboration that has informed how we combine our forces to truly meet the needs of our students and our families, it's mind-blowing. They know our kids, they know our staff, they make a concerted effort to build relationships around curriculum and instruction so that the programming in the afternoon can match and model some of the things that students are learning in the day.
Yeah, making good nutritional choices.
We can talk about politics, we can talk about gender roles, we talk about youth development, we talk about equality, and those are all things that they don't always get the opportunity to discuss during their class time. And so it's really fantastic that we have that space and time to enrich the kids with those types of topics.
Thank you.
And it's all grounded in trust, relationship, and the fact that the school and the partner, Tenacity, has the needs of the students at the heart of everything that we do together.
We're gonna do life skills again today.
Yeah, it's wonderful that Tenacity has had 21 years of supporting communities and schools within Boston, and I just look forward to continuing to partner and work with them in the future and finding new ways to move through and navigate through this really uncertain time and to help our families be more fortified in getting through it.
So, Ned, I guess that's really the issue of the day. How do we really fortify these students so they can figure out how to make their way in this world, particularly at this time?
There needs to be innovation, there needs to be creativity, and it's only when that trust is established that real learning, real progress can take hold. But The core pillars of Tenacity, academics, family engagement, tennis and fitness, working with kids year-round, those are our key pillars, and those are working. They need to stay.
The value that we bring to partners has always been our ability to take what they are doing, the schools are doing so well, and be able to take it one step further. But for all the things that we do well and that we strive to do well, family engagement is the most important thing we do. And frankly, it's the bedrock. It anchors us. Without it, we can't get to the kid. And so for us right now, the ability to connect with families, the ability to find out what they need from us, and to provide them with some access to information, which is often what they lack, is huge for us.
Tenacity does a tremendous job of engaging with our students and families. I think they take a critical approach of starting the school year by doing home visits, but they go further. I think the support that is provided to students and families through the high school choice selection is also a major feature. The events that they also have after school, where they bring parents and families into the building to highlight the successes of their children. Students are recognized for their leadership. Students are recognized for their academic success.
So I think that partners can help us make those connections and provide that ongoing support and navigation support for families, because oftentimes families that have been left behind, I would say, are not able to access the same networks that more privileged families are able to access.
You know, Ned, this business of providing access and opportunity has often been a goal of many organizations who are engaged in helping underserved communities.
Because it matters, Karen. Imagine if high school kids in Boston and Worcester were achieving academically and with the same graduation rates as suburban high schools. Imagine what that would do for our community. But that's not the case right now. What I really care about is providing these students with a very caring, supportive, comprehensive community of support within which they can grow and learn and succeed, just like our suburban kids do. And if we really all want to achieve the unity that's possible for all of us, we need to address this issue of systemic racism head on.
So the issue of racism, unfortunately, is not going to be solved in a matter of 6 months. It's going to be a generation. But there are too many people marching to not acknowledge that there's a problem. There's too many people making their voices heard, and it's incumbent upon all of us to do our part. And I think it's important for us to have conversations about it. Because if we don't have the dialogue, if we don't have the interaction and conversations about racism in every kitchen table, not just the communities of color, but every kitchen table, we're going to find ourselves right back to where we are today. And we have to create something better.
Well, how do we create something better, Ned? Because as the mayor said, nothing happens overnight, particularly regarding race relations, but we have to start somewhere.
It was so heartening to hear straight from the mayor his commitment to addressing systemic racism. All of us at Tenacity are getting pulled into, and we're actually jumping into these conversations because issues come up every day with our students, with our parents, with our partners. And these conversations are vital. We can help. We are also learning. And that's the process that we all need to go through.
We're at a really weird time, I'd say, in our day and age. I mean, we're in the midst of a pandemic. There's a lot of racial issues going on in society right now, especially here in Boston. Lots of protests, and I think, you know, diversity is really important. And I think Tenacity really created a space where kids who are coming from neighborhoods who are predominantly Black or Hispanic have a place where they can, you know, feel safe amongst people who are just like them and not like them. I think it's a bunch of people who can coexist under one umbrella. We all like the same thing. We're all here to play tennis and have fun. And I think that's what really united us all. That's what really united me to my peers.
Ned, this business of unity, particularly now, it just seems like anything we can do to promote diversity is a good idea.
Yes, when I first heard Giovanni's interview, it struck me that one of the biggest values of our pathway, our continuum, this exposure they get to different kids from different communities, different neighborhoods all over the city. This fosters better appreciation, better understanding, and I dare say tolerance of others. And it happens dynamically, experientially, over a number of years. There's nothing forced about it.
So Ned, where do we go from here?
We all have heard that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, we're not raising our urban students very well right now. So we need to ask ourselves, how do we need to adjust the village so that the village will actually fortify and ensure the success of our urban students? If we're serious about this, we need to ask ourselves some tough questions. What kind of citizens are we empowering them to be? How are we going to confront these issues of systemic racism? What can we do to make sure these students have the necessary skills to advocate for themselves and each other? So our job is to ensure that their potential is fully realized so they can be successful in school, in all facets of society, and in life.
Well, that's about all the time we have right now, and I want to thank you for joining us for this conversation about the Tenacity Breakpoint in Education.
And please, if you'd like to contribute or find out how you can support Tenacity in other ways, please visit tenacity.org for more information.
For all of us here at Channel 5, thanks for joining us.